So, whilst you look at the headline of this, it sounds like, great, everyone can go on podcasts now and tell everything they know. It couldn't be further from that. It doesn't permit people to leak classified information. It doesn't automatically declassify anything whatsoever. And it doesn't enable witnesses to tell what they know. I don't want to sound all down on this development, because I do think it's a good thing. I think it is a step in the right direction. It will give some people an opportunity to come forward and have their NDAs kind of evaluated. And hopefully we will get things out of it. If we get absolutely nothing from this whatsoever, I think that gives us information about how much is being withheld.
Okay.
You know how sometimes you can see the shape of something by its absence. If people are, and there will be people coming forward, you can be absolutely certain of that. If in 2 months' time they say, nope, there's nothing being, there's no NDAs being waived, that tells us that they're not interested in getting information out. They're interested in finding out who the whistleblowers are quietly. Trump has issued this edict that these two departments can waive NDAs at their discretion, basically, if people come to.
So just to be clear, anyone who's serving or has served before, who has information and wants to go to one of these agencies, don't assume that your NDAs have been waived. You have to go to this agency and they will tell you whether your NDA is waived or not in each specific case. Hello and welcome to Aliens Explored, your weekly look at the mysterious skies, mysterious seas and transmedium events and all the goings on in back rooms amidst politicians and spooks and all sorts of things. This is a special breaking news edition of Aliens Explored, and Stu's going to give us the headline. I'm one of your hosts, Neil Kelly.
And I am your other host, Stu Jackson. So this is something that the news actually broke a couple of days ago, but for reasons of scheduling and also because we don't like to be too instant reactive here at Aliens Explored. We like to sort of think about things before we wade in. So
before we open our mouths and say something really stupid and regress to our daily habits.
That's it. So it's possible you might have seen the headlines going around ufology that Donald Trump, president of, you know who Donald Trump is, I'm sure, he has waived all the NDAs, all the non-disclosure agreements for anybody to do with UFOs. That's kind of the headline news. That's not what has happened. Just to go straight in with that, but that's kind of the this news that Trump has said that non-disclosure agreements for people who have UAP knowledge, their non-disclosure agreement should be waived. A more accurate description is that Trump has reportedly or allegedly, we don't have this like absolute guaranteed, but it's been reported that Trump has directed agencies to waive previous NDAs for former government people speaking through authorised government channels, and there's only two channels available. One of those is PURSUE, so this is the file release that's happening under Trump. The other is AARO, the all-domain anonymous
Anomaly Resolution Office.
That's the one.
Yeah,
AARO.
the all-domain anomalous. So the all-domain Anomaly Resolution Office.
That's it. Well done.
Right.
Well done.
So just to be clear, this is people who have previously, who are not currently working for the government, but people who have worked for any kind of government agency, including the armed forces. They can report any of their things that they may have seen to one of these official government agencies.
Yes.
But to no one else.
What will happen then is that agency, whichever it is, will then make a decision as to whether or not that person's NDAs can be waived.
Okay, so you go to AARO or PURSUE first and say, I've got some information.
Exactly.
And what do? They say, wait, stop, don't tell us. First of all, we need to check that you can waive your NDA. They
have the clearances to hear this in the first place.
Okay.
So let's say you're Lieutenant Kelly. You work in the Navy and we're a radar operator. You're now retired. You had an experience. You saw a craft on a radar, or a UAP on radar, and you think, I'm not allowed to talk about this publicly. So you then go to PURSUE or AARO and you say, here's this experience I had while I was serving. Here's what I saw. And that department, whichever one of those two it is, will then decide whether you can have your NDA waived.
So how do you decide which agency to go to? In case any of our listeners have got some information they're sitting on, who do you go to first, or how do you decide which one to go to?
That's an amazing question. It would seem from the very limited information we have that it's dealer's choice.
Okay.
You can choose who you go to.
And if you go to one and they say no, you're still bound by an NDA, can you just go to the other one and get a second opinion?
Go to the other one? That's another fantastic question.
Good.
And, do you get two bites of the cherry?
Yeah. Also, talking about NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, I mean, you and I have signed loads of them.
Oh, yeah.
Quite often jobs that we do, depending, here's the NDA, just sign here, and you sign them, basically saying you're not going to film anything on set or share it on social media or anything like that. Basically, you're going to keep your mouth shut.
Yes.
But if you're on the crew of, say, what was one of those PURSUE releases related to a submarine, call sign redacted, so we're not allowed to know what the submarine was and where it was, which saw this anomaly, this UAP. Surely the crew are bound by their equivalent of the Official Secrets Act. It's not a non-disclosure agreement they'd be breaching. They'd actually be committing treason. Well, obviously they're sharing it with another government agency, but they're inappropriately sharing classified information. I mean, have I got that? That's what I understand military personnel are bound by, not NDAs, but by the Secrets Act.
You can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm my impression is it's kind of the other way around. That here in the UK we have the Official Secrets Act, but in America it's more NDAs.
Okay,
but they still have, you're right. It's still treason.
They still have classified information. They still classify things secret and top secret, things like that. And if you work in a security capacity in the British Armed Forces, you have to sign something. It's specifically Section 2 of the Official Secrets Act. Once you've signed it, you're bound to it for life. But you'll probably be expected to re-sign it every 6 months. And at the time I was serving, Britain still had the death penalty for treason in place. And they would gleefully remind us that there's a working gallows in Wandsworth Prison should we decide to play for the other side. But official Section 2 of the Official Secrets Act basically says you're not allowed to tell anyone anything about anything ever. That even something that you didn't think was classified, you thought you were just talking about something you read in the newspaper. Someone could say, "Oh, you breached the Official Secrets Act," and you could be arrested. It's really a catch-all. And in Britain, we're far more secretive than the Americans are, to ludicrous degrees. For instance, do you know what the Queen died of?
Old age, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, no one actually... I mean, old age was definitely a factor, but do you know the specific thing that she died of for which old age would have been a compounding factor?
I've got to be honest, as a Republican at heart, I never really paid that much attention when she died.
Okay, but Republican or strident monarchist, you won't know because you're not allowed to know. It's a state secret. That's the kind of stuff we put under wraps.
Yeah.
You know, it's to a ludicrous degree in this country. So
just to bring us on because this is breaking news about a very specific thing, and we're going way, 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 way off tangent here.
As I like to.
Talking about, as we do. So we're talking there about the Official Secrets Act for Britain, which doesn't apply here anyway. No. This is specifically about the US. Just to bring this back on track, because we're as a breaking news article, we're quite limited for time.
Sure.
So Trump has issued this edict that these two departments can waive NDAs at their discretion, basically, if people come through. Now,
so just to be clear, anyone who's serving or has served before, who has information and wants to go to one of these agencies, don't assume that your NDAs have been waived. You have to go to this agency, and they will tell you whether your NDA is waived or not in each specific case.
Well, that's the interesting thing. So the wording of this is such that if you are a current serving person, it doesn't apply to you anyway. It only applies to former serving people.
Okay.
A lot of people have been saying, like on the UFO sort of social medias, like, this means that people like Lou Elizondo, put a poor shut up, you now can release anything. Well, as I'm understanding, please, viewers and listeners, if you know differently, put in the comments. But my understanding is that Lou Elizondo still has security clearances, which makes him a current serving person technically anyway. So this wouldn't apply to him in the first place. It's really worrying that AARO is one of these. I have to say that from the off, because AARO, under Sean Kirkpatrick, it was pretty appallingly bad. They claim to say, come and talk to us and we'll take your UAP cases seriously and we'll, disseminate the information and no, it became a black hole for whistleblowers. They would go in and you'd never hear from them again.
I think the clue's in the name, that it's the resolution office, and what they do, you go with them with anything, and they will resolve it to their satisfaction. They say, "Oh no, that was just light reflecting off a satellite, or that was a balloon, or that was it." There we go, resolved. So we have no unresolved cases. They're all explained away. Is that would that be a better name for the office, the department for explaining this stuff away?
Yeah. Department for explanation creation. So I mean, you hear things that under its current leadership it's better, but I find AARO inherently untrustworthy. PURSUE is hard to say. We're apparently going to be getting another tranche in a couple of weeks as well, so that's interesting. Now, I don't want to sound all down on this development, because I do think it's a good thing. I think it is a step in the right direction. It will give some people an opportunity to come forward and have their NDAs kind of evaluated. And hopefully we will get things out of it. If we get absolutely nothing from this whatsoever, I think that gives us information about how much is being withheld.
Okay.
You know how sometimes you can see the shape of something by its absence? If people are, and there will be people coming forward, you can be absolutely certain of that. If in 2 months' time they say, nope, there's nothing being, there's no NDAs being waived, that tells us that they're not interested in getting information out. They're interested in finding out who the whistleblowers are quietly.
That was my next question, that there could be people who have information, they've seen something, and down in their local bar they share their stories with anyone who will listen, but they haven't quite gone official with it. Is it a kind of bait to lure these people out? Yeah, come on, you've got a story to tell. You come and tell us all about it, and we'll deal with it and with you as well.
Well, that's exactly what AARO was under Sean Kirkpatrick.
Okay, so basically a trap.
Yeah.
Come and tell us and...
Yeah. That's why I find it worrying that AARO is one of the two departments. But, like I say, it's under different leadership now. You hear it's better. Proof of the pudding's in the eating. We shall see. So, yeah, I made a few notes. So, whilst you look at the headline of this, it sounds like, great, everyone can go on podcasts now and tell everything they know. It couldn't be further from that. It doesn't permit people to leak classified information. It doesn't automatically declassify anything whatsoever. And it doesn't enable witnesses to tell what they know.
So just to be clear,
not without jumping through some hoops first.
Okay, if I've got a story and I go to AARO and they say, yes, we've waived your NDA regarding this matter, well, can I just go straight out on social media then? I'm not bound by NDA anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
No, that's a very simple answer, but yes, that's exactly what that means.
Okay.
If you're not bound by your NDA. Now, another side to this to bear in mind as well. A lot depends on where the NDAs have come from. So if they've come from the military or the services, that's where this would apply. If, however, the NDA or the classification has come from the Department of Atomic Energy, the Atomic Energy Commission, I think it is. I forget the technical detail. But if it comes from there, the only way that can be declassified is through Congress. So AARO and PURSUE would not have the authority to waive those NDAs.
Okay.
Even with this thing from Trump.
So they would have to go to a higher office, or would they just say, sorry, we can't talk to you about this?
They'd have to go to Congress. Now, just to backtrack slightly, when you say, if you're a person who's, had an experience and you go to AARO and they say, yes, we've waived your NDAs, it's not about going public anyway. It's about going to Congress and revealing what you know in a skiff. In a, kind of in a private setting. At the moment, there's a lot of people who cannot even do that with Congress because of their NDAs. Congress are desperately trying. You've got Burchett, Burleson, and Luna, representatives in Congress, who are pushing really hard for this all to become much more declassified. But yeah, people they have the information, but they can't talk to them even in a private setting, in a skiff, as it's called.
Can you just clarify what a skiff is for our listeners?
It's an acronym. Let me look that up.
We probably should, just to be clear, what a skiff is, because that's a new one on me, I have to say.
I've been watching so many excuse me, American things with Congress. Okay, so a SCIF, it's SCIF, stands for Sensitive Compartmented Information Facility.
Okay.
So it's like basically it's a private meeting where anything that's said inside it is still confidential.
Okay.
Rather than standing up publicly in Congress.
I'm glad we clarified that. I imagined you going out on the river in a small boat to avoid potential eavesdroppers.
Yeah. That's what it is. So, yeah, at the moment, like I said, NDAs are preventing people from even talking within skiffs to Congress.
Okay.
So, hopefully, it'll open that door. So that we hear all about whistleblowers who are waiting in the wings, waiting to come forward. If this works, if we take this on face value and not assume ulterior motive or bad acting on the part of people like AARO, it will open the door for all these whistleblowers to come forward, and that'll make a big difference, I hope.
That's pretty big assumptions to make.
It is.
Your government's being completely honest with you.
But and yeah, I'm not optimistic about that, but there are a few ways I think this is a good thing nevertheless. And while it's not as good as, what the headlines would have you believe, I think one of the key ways, and it comes down to what I said earlier about, knowing the shape of something by its absence. It's a similar thing. The fact that this has come about already would not happen unless the powers that be knew, not suspected, but knew that there were a lot of whistleblowers with this information kind of hidden, kind of buried away. No, not literally, one hopes, but although in some cases, So they must know that there's people with this information. Otherwise, this wouldn't happen.
Yeah. So this is a genuine. It's being presented as a genuine quest for knowledge. Because I've always assumed up to now that when someone comes forward and says they've seen this thing or whatever, or had this experience, that creates a problem, and the fewer of those that happen, the happier everyone is. That they're actively seeking these things out now.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's another step to acknowledging the phenomenon. It's quite a big step to us.
It seems a fairly minor bureaucratic. Well, we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, that's it.
The fact that it doesn't apply to currently serving personnel, that it's discretionary, whether your NDA is lifted. I have to say I'm dubious, but that's my role in this podcast, to be dubious.
No, because you know what? I'm just as dubious about all of that as you are. Because, there are too many caveats to this. It feels like if I take my optimistic hat off for a moment, this really feels like a PR exercise. Like, look, we're doing everything we can to get all this out there, and while actually putting in so many barriers to it actually happening.
Yes, yeah.
Now, that said, this might be a multi-step system where, we'll start with people who are previously serving, then we'll open it up to people who are existing serving, then we'll open it, and it might be step by step it gets increased.
But let's see what happens to the first tranche who go through. Do you know what? Sticking my optimistic hat back on for a moment, it might be they're doing it this way and they're doing a slow ramp up because they know that there are so many people with amazing bits of information that they would be utterly overwhelmed if they just said, current and previous can come and talk to us. They might not be capable of handling that many people. Do you think, I mean, just thinking of the way bureaucracies work, they can get to the stage where saying, well, we're actually swamped now, so don't waive any more NDAs. No matter what they come forward with, we just haven't got the capacity to deal with anymore, so...
That would not be the first time something like that happened, if it did. That's for sure. Now, a lot of people are speculating online at the moment as well that this has been sort of alluded to by David Grush, your friend.
I'm glad you mentioned him, because I was about to.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So, 70 days ago, or 71 days ago, 10 weeks ago, he said that something big was coming that was going to sort of make a huge difference within, I think he said, it's like between 60 and 90 days away.
Okay.
And this came out like 70 days in. So I haven't heard confirmation that this is exactly what he was talking about, but it wouldn't surprise me because he has been working behind the scenes with government, and maybe this is one of the things that he's been pushing for.
So he's still very much in the loop.
Oh, yeah.
As regards that sort of thing. And so did someone waive his NDA so that he could talk to Congress?
No. That's why he hasn't been able to release any information.
But he was able to step forward and say, well, I've seen this stuff, even though he's not allowed to show you this stuff.
Yes.
And do you think there'll be a lot of that? People say, well, I've seen a classified document that said this, but I'm not allowed to show you the classified document.
Well, that's exactly where the NDA sort of cuts in, and this is what's been holding him back, and why in Congress, as soon as they said, and where did you see this? He said, I can't tell you. Because his NDA's cut in.
Yeah.
Everything he said, he's doing it by the book, and everything he has said he is authorised to say legally. But the moment it goes beyond that, the moment it goes to breaching his breaching his NDAs basically, yeah, he's just, I can't tell you that.
That's when the brakes fail on his car, or he falls out of a window while he's changing a light bulb, or something like that.
Well, let's not joke about that sort of thing, because
no, serious. Yeah, that's
Matthew Brown, the person who made the world aware of Immaculate Constellation. Was it Matthew Brown or Dylan Borman? One of them had their brakes cut.
Yeah, no, I was being serious.
Yeah,
you don't go blurting out. You don't say, I've got secret government information, because if people think you really have, then they'll shut you up. Yeah.
There have been. Well, I mean, David Grush has had threats, so he's talked about that.
Threats from
what
might be government circles, or
yeah, or people working in the shadows. Yeah.
I'm kind of rooting for David Grush. I mean, he's doing a very brave thing, but
I believe so, and I'm really glad to hear you say this, because that's a very different tack to where you were before.
I do. I mean, my first impression was he'd gone off completely half-cocked when he's saying, "Well, I've seen these documents, but I can't show you," or "I've seen these things, but I can't." But I kind of thought, well, yeah, okay, you're not very credible. That was my thought.
And on initial look at it, that's exactly how it seems. But yeah, these people like Lou Elizondo, Jay Stratton, they're all working within the system.
Yeah, he also seemed too eager to get Congress to take it on trust what he was saying.
Well, he was speaking under oath, and it's like with us. When we speak in a court of law and we're speaking under oath, the default position is that you are telling the truth. I mean, people do lie under oath, but
that's
that's a real big problem. And if you're caught doing that, that's a massive issue. I think with Congress, that's treason. I wouldn't be surprised if it is anyway.
Lying to Congress. Okay.
lying under oath. Yeah.
Yeah, misleading
That'll be
Parliament doesn't seem to result in many sanctions.
Oh no, over here our system's messed up. Yeah, yeah. Automatically assumes that everyone's honourable in Parliament.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, they're not.
I mean, if someone says something blatantly untrue, you stand up and say you're lying. You're the one who will be in trouble for using unparliamentary language.
Oh.
This is a gentleman's club.
That's it. So, let me see what else I've got in my notes. I think we've covered most of what I wanted to say. Yeah, it is... like I said earlier, I do think this is a step in the right direction. One of the big things that people like David Grush have been crying for is more whistleblower protections, which they're failing miserably. There's lip service paid to it. So if this is a step towards, that's a good thing. Playing devil's advocate a little bit as well as to why only these two channels. A possible answer that I came up with is that it could still be because of legitimate national security interests. So, for example, if somebody worked on radar systems, satellite capabilities, sensor performance, nuclear security, there's a lot of UAPs around nuclear facilities, as we know, classified aircraft, things like that. Those details may still need protection, even if the UAP aspect of it doesn't. And we've seen that through PURSUE so many times already. We'll see a video and all the sensor data is blacked out for alleged national security interests. So controlling testimony, I get that. You don't want to just say all NDAs are waived. That would be utterly chaos. So there we go. I think it's one of those things. Only time will tell. I'll be very interested to see what NDAs and for who get waived, if any. If none do, that tells us something as well, and it's not good. This is
just a bit of a PR exercise.
Or a trap, like you said.
Or a trap, yeah.
Getting people out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I still think, if I had some kind of experience or some kind of encounter, I'd want to keep my mouth shut about it.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of whistleblowers who will be saying, this is not enough. That I'm not coming forward to that, especially where AARO is concerned, because their reputation, we've seen AARO for what it is. Even speculatively, if it is as bad as what we speculate it to be or have been, there's no way whistleblowers are going there.
Yeah, it'll take more than new management to appease us, I think.
I think so. No, I'm more optimistic with PURSUE, but time will tell.
Again, I'm going to see if the next tranche of files releases anything more than just more lights in the sky. I'm not expecting anything more than that.
No, neither am I, to be honest. I don't think we're at that stage in the disclosure journey.
Okay.
I'm hearing so much speculate, like from serious people working within all this. They're looking at the things they're saying. The general sense is that we will have disclosure of non-human intelligence by the end of the year.
By the end of this year, so 6 months. By the
end of the year, yeah.
5 months.
Yeah.
Okay, let's set the clock going.
I can see it. I can see the potential for it. I think. I doubt it.
Yeah, I very much doubt it. I'm prepared to make a bet that they won't.
I think we'll be a long way along that path, though.
I'm not so sure.
Things are moving. Like say, look at 10 years ago. The idea of, NDAs being potentially waived for people with UAP knowledge to come forward, or videos being put out by the government of UAPs, files about studies on them, the idea of that sort of thing being released. Now, a lot of it, has already made its way into the public domain. But now with PURSUE, it's been authorised. It's not like, oh, here's a leaked document that may or may not be true. It's like, well, here is the government is saying it's unknown.
I mean, looking at the political background, we have an American president who is in big trouble. He's facing the midterms are coming up in, is it November? And he's being slated to lose control of Senate, lose control of Congress, and possibly find himself impeached or removed as incompetent. That he'll lose too many of his supporters in those institutions, and he'll be gone. And then this could just be a Trump thing, a Trump distraction, and the shutters come down again, and that's it. No, there never was any disclosure. We're never going to disclose anything. There's nothing to see here. Go away.
Well, that's the thing. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. Once it's out, and you can't. You can stop any further, movement forward, but you can't bring it backwards. I hope that we just get as much as possible whilst we can under Trump.
Yeah, well, I think you can't put the genie back in the bottle, but it'll wither away once you put the stopper back in. It'll just start fading from memory, and apart from people like us, keep the memory alive. But I remember that. I remember they released some videos, some lights in the sky 10 years ago, and didn't hear anything more from that. So I guess there was nothing more.
Yeah, and you and I have discussed some really interesting cases over the years, and the one that instantly comes to mind is like the Phoenix Lights, where thousands upon thousands of people witnessed a UFO, or a series of UFOs, depending on how you look at it. And yes, the mainstream media talked about it for a while. Occasionally they'll mention it still. But yeah, I think what we need is something like, it's one thing for us in the UFO kind of topic with an interest in it. We'll remember that sort of thing. We'll keep it at the forefront of our mind. We'll be keeping an eye on it. But for the mainstream public, it needs something pretty massive for them to not only talk about it, but to keep talking about it for long enough that the public at large, in general, public at large, they're not criminals. Some are. Anyway, but the public in general, for it to kind of sit in their mind and for them to accept the reality, it's going to take something pretty massive, and it's going to take more than just waiving some NDAs, or potentially waiving some NDAs as it is. There we go.
In fact, NDAs are usually waived with the other spelling, aren't they? They wave it in your face to say, shut up.
That's it. They either waive NDAs or they waive them. Yes.
An NDA waiver is either a release from your constraint or someone who's waving an NDA in your face. So
that's it.
Just to be clear.
So I'd like to hear from our viewers and listeners. What do they think about this development? Is there anything specific you'd like to know, Neil, or just kind of going to wait and see?
I think I'm going to just adopt a wait and see. I think I have no further questions at this stage.
Your Honour. Okay. Well, yeah, do let us know in the comments below if you think that this is a fantastic move forward and you're optimistic about it, or if you believe it's just going to be another nothing burger, or like we've speculated, potentially it's a trap. To quote Star Wars. Right. Well, on that bombshell, we're going to leave it here for today. Make sure you are subscribed and all the rest of those good things, because we've got a new episode dropping tomorrow as well. This has just been a special. So yeah, we will see you again very, very soon.
I look forward to it. Catch you next time.
Keep watching the skies. Bye bye.
Bye bye.